It has been announced that June Brown, who played Dot Cotton for over 30 years in the BBC One soap EastEnders, has died at the age of 95. She became synonymous with the chain-smoking mum of bad boy Nasty Nick Cotton, although she had many other roles on stage and screen. June Brown once said the only thing she had in common with Dot was her Christianity. Our arts correspondent David Sillito looks back now at her career.
I've got to face facts. With my nerves, I've got to smoke. You silly little man!
Oh, I have. God-fearing, chain-smoking, hypochondriac Dot Cotton.
All right. You made your point. Good.
It was, for June Brown, the role of a lifetime.
As you know that Tate has got a bit of a reputation. Give us a tea, Lofty, and a glass of water.
June Brown was 58 when she arrived in EastEnders. Work had been drying up.
But my head feels as though a circular saw's going through it.
The offer to play Dot changed everything.
Religious men who collect Bibles can only think of the one thing.
But they didn't have a lot in common.
People ask me if I'm like Dot.
Hello, Jim. It's me, Dorothy.
The only way I am like Dot is in my feelings about spirituality. Only they are rather advanced for Dot. But apart from that, I'm not really like Dot at all, I don't think.
Now, you want to tell your children what I used to tell my Nick.
Dot was Walford born and bred. June grew up in Suffolk. She trained at the Old Vic and appeared in dozens of productions over the years. She also had 6 children.
I love the stage. You see, it's alive, this theatre. It's had live words spoken in, live reactions. Everything's been live. I just want to act, you see. I really do.
If it's money you're after, you're looking in the wrong place.
I'm sorry, Ma. Everything I ever put you through.
70 years on stage and screen, more than 30 in EastEnders.
Confess to Jesus.
Dot Cotton could easily have just come and gone. But it was June Brown that turned her into an indispensable part of Albert Square.
It's June Brown, who has died at the age of 95. Well, as you'd expect, some stars have been paying tribute to June Brown this afternoon. Fellow EastEnders star Daniela Westbrook said, "My heart is broken. Goodbye, my darling June Brown." The actor and writer Stephen Fry said June Brown, amongst all her other wonderful human qualities and achievements, will be remembered as a tireless and fearless LGBT ally, especially during the darkest days of the HIV and AIDS epidemic and Section 28. It was a privilege to know her. And the BBC's Director General, Tim Davies, said her performances as the incomparable Dot Cotton delivered some of the most memorable moments in soap history. Well, you heard his report there, but our arts correspondent David Sillito is with us. David, nice to see you. What an iconic character. One of soap's most iconic characters played by June Brown.
It was a 3-month contract in 1985. And she was the lady in the laundrette. Now, how many characters have been and gone from Albert Square over those years? She turned her into something. You can have a great line, you can have a great script, but you have to have a great actress in order to make it work. And, I mean, she did have a break in the 90s, but 35 years on Albert Square, I think, says it all. And I think the most remarkable thing is when she arrived in 1985, she already had a 40-year acting career to look back on. The Old Vic, the Royal Shakespeare Company, a whole collection of film roles. 6 children. She was widowed when she was 30. I mean, it's quite a life she had had before she even arrived at Albert Square. There is also, if you wanted to have an idea of just how funny she was and how sharp she was and how different she was from Dot Cotton, as that fantastic appearance she did on the Graham Norton show, sitting alongside Lady Gaga. And they tried their best to coax out of her a few anecdotes about her life, to talk about it, because she was supposedly there promoting her autobiography. Was she going to have a bit of it? Was she going to talk about it? Absolutely not. She was mortified by the whole idea, but she did it with kind of a wit and charm. Then you thought to yourself, well, I've just seen a bit of landmark TV there. She was a consummate performer.
And such a feature of EastEnders. Many will find it surprising that, as you said, she joined very late in her career, her mid to late 50s when she joined EastEnders, and just felt like she'd been there forever. Because she wasn't one of the original lineup either, was she?
No, she came in. It had been going for a little while. She hadn't actually watched EastEnders before she joined it, but it already had made its impact and was doing well. So she knew she was joining sort of a successful programme. But the key thing is that she could do funny. She was a great deliverer of one-liners, but she could also do tragic. She could also move the plot on. Whatever the writers could do and write, she will be able to, oh, I can do something with that. I can do a bit of that. And that's 40 years of experience. That's knowing exactly what you're doing and how to do it. And the speed. I was only there on Albert Square a few days ago, and you actually see how fast the turnaround is and how they have to, you know, it's a tough job being a soap actor, and to do it for 35 years is a mark of being very skillful, and you only survive if you can carry various different roles and you can play different things. And I think that the fact that she was nominated for a BAFTA, I mean, it is vanishingly rare that somebody who appears on a soap gets such an accolade. They are rather looked down upon, even though they are almost all of them fantastic actors. But she had that one-woman show, effectively. It was just her narrating her life to her husband and getting that BAFTA nomination. She didn't get the BAFTA, but she got the nomination. I think that's enough to be reminded that, yeah, she was quite an actress.
And as you said, it's the light and the shade, and that helped carry some of what could be pretty controversial or difficult storylines. And that's what soap does so well, doesn't it? Sparks that national conversation. It gets us talking about things that are probably quite difficult to talk about. She was involved in the euthanasia storyline, for example, wasn't she?
Yes, and you only have to look at the lives of soap characters. When you look back at them, you go, that's just ridiculous. No human being could have a life like that. You know, the ups and downs that have to be in order to keep people watching. Yeah. But the thing about it is, even if it was just a little scene in the laundrette and it's just a look with a cigarette and she's just casting an eye across there, and you just go, oh, she's conveyed a thought there. We know what's going on there. Yeah. And, you know, right down to, you know, the final scenes when, you know, she's talking about euthanasia. I mean, you totally believed this was Dot and she was going through these experiences. And June Brown, of course, utterly different. Nothing like Dot at all, apart from the spirituality. Yeah. She was a great palmist, and she believed in fate. So when stuff happened to her, she thought, well, it was all meant to be.
She will be missed. June Brown, who's died at the age of 95. David, thank you. Thank you very much. David Sillito, our arts correspondent there.